My name is Dean. I'm an addict. Just want to say welcome to everyone, and I want to thank God for another day, awake, alive, clean. So step five, I admitted to God, to myself, and to another human being the exact nature of my wrongs. So for me, when I first got to step five, I thought the first two parts are really stupid because God already knows what I've done, and I already know what I've done. So for me, I battled with that in the beginning, but I didn't understand exactly what it was about, and it's becoming completely honest with myself and with God about the wrongs that I've done. So for me, growing up, whenever I did something wrong, I never thought anything about it. So I would carry on doing what I was doing, hurt people, hurt myself, and I think before coming to step five, a lot of things had to happen before I could actually do this step. So I firstly needed to build a relationship with a God of my own understanding. And I need, for me to do that, I had to start at the beginning, and I had huge resentments against God for the way my life had planned out in the end. So I had to work through a lot of stuff. I had to sit and think about what I've done, my part in it. So, doing steps 1 to 4. And step 4, my sponsor made me write down my resentments towards other people, my fears, and also look at my part in those resentments. What was my doing in those things? What did I do wrong? So I got to a point working step 4, and I didn't find step 4 that difficult because I already knew what I've done. What I found difficult was to find my fault and my part to play in those resentments. So I eventually did those things, and I built a relationship with the higher power, started turning my will and my life over to the care of God, which I had to build a trust with this higher power as well. So when I got to step 5, my sponsor would tell me that I need to sit down somewhere quiet by myself, and just everything I wrote down in my step 4, I had to read out or speak about to God and ask God as well to show me how not to do these things again. So for me, I did those things with myself as well. I had to sit down and be completely honest with myself. Because for me, this is a disease of deceit and lies. So I can lie to myself and justify the things I've done, why I did them. And eventually, finally, I think building a relationship with a sponsor. So I found a home group, which is the Black Sheep Recovery Group in Veldervereniging Park in Joburg. So I started building. I listened to people sharing, and my sponsor. I found he shares very honest. The way he was speaking, he was very blunt. He said things the way they were. So I asked this person to be my sponsor as well. So I sat down with this person, and I think that's the difficult part for me about step 5 was to trust someone else. Because I thought if I'm going to tell this person exactly what I've done, they probably won't accept me anymore, or they won't accept me at all. So it took me a long while to actually do that part of step 5, sitting down with someone and, telling them all the things I've done, because I had a lot of shame and guilt about the things I've done in my life. And I thought it was unforgiving. It wasn't, no one could actually accept me for the way I was and for the things I've done in my life. So, I think I sat down with him one day and I started sharing about all the wrongs I did in my life. And, I think the first time I did step 5 with him, I left some things out because I thought, I can't tell him those things because, that's too bad to tell. And after I shared with him the first time, I realized that, the things he told me he did was way worse. So in that way, I think in the following weeks, I said, I told him I wasn't completely honest. So I said, I need to be completely honest. That's what the step says. I need to be completely honest about the wrongs I've done. So I sat down with him again, and again, I told him things, and he told me things that's worse than that again. So for me, what step 5 has taught me that is, for me in this program, nothing I did is too bad for you people not to accept me. You know, because like, I don't know, I did a lot of wrong things in my life, but it wasn't intentional. You know, my life became unmanageable, and I was powerless over the things I did when I was inactive. But today, you know, through this program, through all the people here, my life has changed completely. You know, I've changed in recovery. I've changed occupation twice. You know, in active, I stayed in one job, which I hated. So now, you know, I've changed, complete career changes. You know, the fear. So for me as well, the fears, I think that's what kept me sick so long. It's all the fears. And, you know, I still have fears today. I'm shitting myself standing here. But I spoke to my sponsor this morning again. I said, you know, I'm really nervous and stressing. And he said, you know, what is there to be nervous about? Because all you can do is share your experience. And I think that's what this program has taught me as well. It's one addict helping another is without parallel. And in that step 5, that's what it's done for me. It's taught me that my sponsor and a lot of other people, you know, I think my sponsor is the only person who knows certain things about me. And it's only me, God, and myself, and my sponsor that know these things. So for me, it's a very personal step. You know, there's things I think other people don't need to know. And I keep it between those 3 people, you know, myself, my sponsor, and the God of my own understanding. So thanks for letting me share.